Yeah. You Can't Play Boxing Podcast. What's up? We back. Excuse me. Episode 42. Yo. Before we get into everything, I want to do some of the house cleaning real quick. So number one, check us out. Like you're checking us out right now. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, excuse me, anywhere that you check out your major podcast platforms. Check us out. Number two, check us out on our website, Can't Play Boxing. Check us out on Instagram at You Can't Play Boxing. That's UCANTPLAYBOXING. Check us out on our Twitter, You Can't Play Boxing. Check us out on our YouTube, You Can't Play Boxing. So you can find us a lot of places. As I say all the time, I really appreciate everybody who has been listening. The listenership has grown tremendously. You know what I'm saying? So 2020 has been a good year for the platform and for the podcast. So I want to appreciate everybody who has taken their time to listen. Got some loyal listeners out there too. I see y'all. I recognize y'all. I appreciate y'all. So we got all the house cleaning out the way. This is going to be a real, typically You Can't Play Boxing podcast. It's boxing and bullshit or bullshit and boxing. But this episode is going to be real boxing heavy, you know what I'm saying? And we gonna really talk about all boxing stuff, really. It's no filler, you know what I'm saying? So if you're a boxing purist who be hating when I start talking about other things, this episode is for you because it's 100% boxing. But speaking of boxing, we gonna deal with some of the exhibition news, first. Number one, the Tyson versus Roy Jones fight. That fight did tremendously. The numbers came out. The fight sold 1.6 million people bought the fight. Now, 1.6 million is more than any other fight that's came out this year. I don't know. I think it beat Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Yeah, it beat that. So that just kind of show you how big Mike Tyson and Roy Jones still is. So salute to them. I think the fight grossed $80 million. So safe to say we gonna see another exhibition fight featuring Mike Tyson. And speaking about exhibition fights that feature Mike Tyson, of course, the word is that we probably are going to get the Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield fight. That should probably do numbers too. So I don't know if it's going to do 1.6, but hell, I didn't know this fight was going to do 1.6. You know what I'm saying? So I don't too much know about it. But salute to everybody at Triller. Is that what it is? Triller. Salute to Mike Tyson, salute to Roy Jones, and everybody who's involved with it. Speaking of recognizing the success of an exhibition fight, who threw their name in the ring to say, "Oh, I'm coming out, I'm doing the exhibition fight too"? None other than Floyd Mayweather. I was just talking to my cousin about this. I was like, man, I said, Floyd, anytime the publicity and the spotlight is on something in boxing, Floyd find his way to get in the mix some type of way, and it's an art to doing that. So I'm not hating on him for doing it, but I wasn't surprised when I saw the news yesterday or 2 days ago that he was going to do an exhibition fight, because anytime there's something hot in boxing, Floyd going to jump on it. He wants to stay relevant. And, being relevant definitely brings money. So I'm not hating on it at all. But Floyd Mayweather is going to fight Logan Paul. You know what I'm saying? That fight's supposed to be February the 20th, you know? You know, Logan Paul is Jake Paul's brother. Logan Paul is already 0-1 in the lone exhibition fight that he had against another YouTube dude, KSI. I think that was last year. So this is definitely a money grab, you know, but, you know, hey, money makes the world go around, right? To some people. So Floyd is going to fight him. Of course, you know, I think Logan Paul does weigh like 190 pounds or something. It's going to be an exhibition fight. If anybody knows anything about Floyd, he just did an exhibition fight, I guess, 2 years ago in Japan. You know what I'm saying? So he's no stranger to it. Floyd's one of the best fighters of all time. So, I mean, I think he's going to know how to handle himself. I don't have no doubts about that. But it's interesting, you know, that he's jumping in. I'm not surprised, though. Like I said, Floyd knows how to stay in the news, you know, for the right reasons, though. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Floyd Mayweather. Well, this past weekend, we had a big fight. It kind of went how I thought. We had Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about the fight. We're going to recap the fight. I'm going to tell you where does Errol Spence rank as far as a welterweight in my mind, as far as long term. Then we will also dive into the top 5 welterweights in boxing right now. And then to close it out, we do have another big fight. Next weekend, we got Anthony Joshua versus Pulev in the mandatory fight. So we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to go to a quick break, and we'll hit all those things up after the break. So stay tuned. What's up? It's that time of the show where we kind of give a shout out to our sponsors. The sponsor today is Anchor. Anchor is everything you need to create your own podcast. You can use Anchor to distribute your show. They'll kind of get it out for you. And all you have to do is do it from your cell phone or your microphone, however you want to do it. But if you want to get your voice out there, if you want to talk to the people, there's no better place to do it than Anchor. So download the app, Anchor, or go to their website, anchor.com. It'll distribute your podcast on all platforms. So again, Anchor. Yeah, wake your punk ass up. Nah, what's up? You Can't Play Boxing. Episode 42, we back. You know what I'm saying? We gonna dive into the big fight from this past weekend. Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. So the fight, man, took place in Dallas. Had a good crowd, too. Had a good crowd in Dallas in the AT&T Stadium. I think they had about 17,000 people, which was the maximum they were going for due to these COVID times. So Errol Spence brought out a crowd to Dallas. Terrence Crawford was one of the people in the crowd. He went to the fight. And, you know, if you guys did listen to episode 41, in episode 41 is where I was talking about, I previewed the fight. And one of the things in my prediction that I thought it was going to be a tough fight because Danny is solid. I thought it was going to take Errol some time to kind of get his timing right. But shit, Errol proved me wrong, man. I watched that first round, and I told my cousin, I was like, nah, it ain't going to be no 115, 113. If Errol Spence is already finding his timing, and he's cutting off the ring and using his jab like this, with this sort of activity in the first round, I said I knew that Danny, he got one speed, and I'll give him credit. Danny, he upped that speed from a 1 to like a 1.25. You know what I'm saying? He did up it, but his second gear is nothing like Errol Spence's second gear. So when I saw the Errol Spence in that first round came out and he was hitting to the body and also jabbing, I said, yeah, it's gonna be a long night for Danny. He don't got that second gear to stop what Errol gonna do. So I knew my 115, 113 was gonna be out the the window after that first round. But going through the fight, I will say Danny, he upped his game a little bit. He was going to the body, but for every time, like they said on the telecast, and I was, telling other people too, every time Danny hits Errol with 1 or 2, Errol's hitting him with 1, 2, 3, then a 4, then a 5, 6, then Danny's doing 1, 2. You know what I'm saying? So for every 4 that Danny's getting in a sequence, Errol's getting 6, 7. You know what I'm saying? So it was just hard for him. And Danny is a natural counterpuncher, and Errol, he left himself open a couple times, and there was a couple times that Danny caught Errol with a couple shots. But unless you got major power to be able to jump on when Errol makes a mistake, there's really nothing you can do because you got a hell of a chin. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you might catch him a few times in a fight, but okay, you caught him them 5 times. What you gonna do the rest of the 12 rounds you in there with him? Because there's very few people in welterweight, especially, that he gonna respect your power to stay up your ass. And I can't think of nobody really that current day who would stop Errol Spence for coming forward. You gotta be somebody he respects, size wise. You know what I'm saying? Pause. I gotta say pause on that one. But yeah, you gotta be somebody he can respect size wise, and I don't think there's nobody in welterweight currently that would pose much of a threat for him due to that. You know what I'm saying? But 4th round, 5th round, Danny was trying to do his thing. And then, I think that was around 8, round 9, Errol really was starting to put a beating down on Danny. He went to that second gear. You know what I'm saying? The second gear, third gear, I say that Danny don't got. Oh yeah, Errol Spence got that shit. You know what I'm saying? He got that shit. And he was really putting on Danny, and you could tell Danny was getting discouraged because there was nothing he can do. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing he can do. And he became discouraged. But what I will say, and Errol even mentioned it, he mentioned it after the fight. He mentioned that his conditioning wasn't as good as it should have been. Because if you notice, I think the 10th round and 11th round, he kind of took his foot off the pedal because he was tired. He extended a lot of energy to stay on Danny's ass and whoop him, the 8th and 9th round. And he didn't really have the conditioning to finish him off. Plus, Danny Garcia is hard to finish anyway. He's never been stopped. So, that was a tall feat, you know what I mean? But, I had to fight, just for the record, I had to fight 117 and 111 as far as my scorecard. I know some people in the Twitter boxing sphere, they had it more wider than that. The official judges' scorecards was 116, 112 for 2 judges, and then 1 judge had it as 117, 111. I think Sean Porter had 116, 112. I think at best, that's the best you can give Danny Garcia was 116, 112. You know what I mean? Like, you had to give him all the benefit of a doubt. You know what I'm saying? And to give him that scorecard. But this was a great performance by Errol Spence, man. This was and this kind of after I had this performance, I started to think where does this put Errol Spence? Seeing his makeup, being a guy who got killer power coming in the game, being a guy that went over to England, to Kell Brook's hometown, to win his first title in Kell Brook's hometown overseas, fighting Sean Porter, somebody that people don't want to fight, digging deep and going to that second, third gear to beat Sean Porter in rounds 11 and round 12 and win that fight. And then to beat Danny Garcia after a life-altering car accident. Like, that tells you a few things. Number one, it tells you have a strong competitor, somebody who believes in himself, somebody who knows how to dig deep, somebody who's not scared, along with the boxing ability, along with the heart he already has, along with the ring IQ that he showed by beating Mikey Garcia all rounds. The conclusion is, if you didn't already know, Errol Spence is a special fighter. He's going to be one of those fighters of this generation. I think, every generation you get like one or two fighters that are a cut above the class, you know what I'm saying? And to me, Errol Spence he's that dude. He's that guy, a cut above everybody. I don't see nobody beating him in 147 or 154. I think if he goes to 160, and fights some of those guys, it might be some competition. But he's definitely one of the best guys in this generation, him and Canelo. He's definitely, in my mind, future Hall of Famer if he's not already one. And he's just special. So I think we need to recognize the guys who are special. There's a lot of special fighters. Terrence Crawford is a special fighter. I mean, I think outside of Errol Spence, and maybe Sean Porter would give him a fight to make it difficult. I think Terrence Crawford got enough within him to get past Sean Porter. It wouldn't be easy, but I think Terrence Crawford beats everybody except Errol Spence. And it's because I thought about this too. If you look at it just by their body type, if money was the object, and if the biggest money fight was at 140 pounds, Terrence Crawford has the weight and the frame to still make 140 pounds right now. It's just that the money ain't there. If the money and the big fights were at 154 and 160, like if there was a huge fight, the Errol Spence could get paid $35 million, $50 million. Errol Spence has the body type to make 154 for sure and 160 right now. So you're looking at two fighters who at their best weights are probably either 2 to 3 weight classes from each other at the optimal weight, you know what I'm saying? So I think Terrence Crawford is an awesome fighter, future Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? It's just that he's going to fight another guy. If they ever fight, he's going to fight another guy who is also a future Hall of Famer, who's just bigger, you know what I'm saying? So I look forward to that fight, and of course, when they get in the ring, Bud can prove me wrong. I mean, so, but like I tell people, Terrence Crawford beating Errol Spence, that's just going to be one of them things I got to see. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be, you can't tell me that Terrence Crawford can beat Errol Spence. That got to be one of them things you show me that he did it. I can't just believe it if you just tell me, because, great fighters, but that's just one of the things you got to prove and you got to do. But they both Hall of Famers, great fighters. One of the best, some of the best fighters in the world. And it's not easy to do that. So I salute to them both. So, I think Errol Spence is great. Speaking of how great I think Errol Spence is, let's run down the top 5 welterweights right now. Coming in number 5, I got Sean Porter. Sean Porter been through a lot of good wars. He lost to Kell Brook, Lost to Keith Thurman in a close fight, beat Danny Garcia, and lost to Errol Spence. Sean Porter is a tough out no matter when you fight him. Number 4 is on Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman has beaten Danny Garcia. He has beaten Sean Porter. Only lost to Manny Pacquiao, and my guy Pacquiao's my number 3 welterweight. Pacquiao, Hall of Famer, one of the best fighters of the last 20 years. So, I mean, his resume says it all, you know what I'm saying? At 40 plus years old, still making it happen. There's talk that he might face Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford coming up. But to be truthful, he could fight him, but that's not going to. Pacquiao's already a Hall of Famer, whether he fights Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford. He's already a Hall of Famer already without even fighting him. So, at number 2, we got Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford, hell of a fighter, just beat Kell Brook. I think he's Hall of Famer, you know what I'm saying? Got the heart of a lion, not scared, you know, and that was funny. He was at the fight. Terrence Crawford is competitive, bro. Like, if you don't know, he's a real competitive dude, and he don't mind coming to your backyard. And I know Errol Spence was trying to say, I don't know why Terrence is here. I don't care if he was here. And I mean, probably to some part, he is probably telling the truth on that, but Terrence Crawford wants this fight. I know he don't try to say it too much, but he wants to fight Errol Spence, and that in itself lets you know Terrence Crawford, because you know if we see the size difference, he sees it too. But please believe me, Terrence Crawford believes that he can beat Errol Spence. He is not, you know, it's not for money. He believes he can beat Errol Spence. So I always rock with Terrence Crawford. Like he's legit. And number 1, we got Errol Spence. I just talked about it. Just ran down his resume. Beat Kell Brook, beat Sean Porter, beat Danny Garcia. I think he's a special talent. You know what I'm saying? I think he's at the next level, and I think we should be thankful and appreciate seeing talent like that, you know what I'm saying, in his prime. So salute to Errol Spence. So what we're going to do, we're going to wrap it up real quick, but we got another fight this weekend. We got Anthony Joshua versus Pulev on DAZN. Last time we saw Anthony Joshua was last December, you know what I'm saying, where he beat he got his revenge by beating Andy Ruiz in his rematch. So, you know, Pulev is mandatory, tall guy. It's an interesting tidbit when Vladimir Klitschko fought Pulev some years ago. Anthony Joshua was his sparring partner to help him get ready for Pulev. And years later, Anthony Joshua finds himself fighting Pulev. So it's funny how the shit works out. But, you know, it's a mandatory. Skill-wise, Anthony Joshua should win. And I don't think he's going to take preparation lightly. However, I do, in that last fight with Ruiz, you can tell that the knockout he took, he still wasn't mentally over it yet. I don't think until he gets that first heavy shot, he's going to be fully over that. Because I think in the back of his mind, until he gets that first heavy shot and he's able to pick himself out of it and persevere, I think he's going to always have that in his back of his mind until he gets over it. You know what I'm saying? So I guess what I'm saying, I think he's definitely taking the fight seriously. I just think he has some mental things that he's not fully over with from that Ruiz KO. Now with Pulev or whatever, will he be able to exploit that? I'm not sure, but it's the heavyweight division, so it can happen in a split second. and it can happen real easily. So that's my disclaimer. However, when it comes to my prediction, I do think skill-wise, if Anthony Joshua has a good game plan, he has more skills than Pulev. So I predict Joshua. I predict the unanimous decision. You know what I'm saying? I think there might be some hairy parts of the fight. And like I said, it is the heavyweight division, so anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? Anything can happen. But I think Anthony Joshua will win this fight, And again, you can catch this fight on DAZN. I think it's out of England, so it'll probably be on in the afternoon and Saturday. And so we'll check out that. We'll be back next week to kind of recap that fight. Then the week after that, we got Canelo and Triple G. They both fight in separate fights, you know what I'm saying? And then I think we're going to start wrapping up like the end of the year awards and stuff like that. So we definitely appreciate everybody listening. And to wrap up, we're going to wrap up this episode. Number one, check us out on all the major podcasts and streaming platforms as far as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of those. Check us out. Also check us out on Instagram and You Can't Play Boxing. It's UCANTPLAYBOXING. Check us out on our website, can'tplayboxing.com. Check us out on Twitter, You Can't Play Boxing. Check us out on YouTube, You Can't Play Boxing. I want to thank everybody for listening. My motto is TYFFM. Thank you for fucking with me. TYFFWM. Yes, I appreciate everybody listening. Until next time, y'all. Peace.